I visited Dubrovnik for 3 days, and this is what I did, what I recommend, and whether I'd recommend going on a trip there yourself. Also, apologies for the facial hair. I'm trying to see how much I can grow out in the 3 weeks that I'm here in Montenegro for. So this is the current state of it. It's a bit. Anyway, before we do get started, here's a quick little 30-second summary of the trip in a little, montage-esque way.
I can tell you miss me, I can tell it is. Not trying to be romantic, I hit it from the back, just you don't get attached. I like the way you kiss me, I can tell you miss me, I can tell it is. Not trying to be romantic, I hit it from the back, just you don't get attached.
So getting into Dubrovnik, however you want to pronounce it, pretty easy to do. You can either just fly straight in to the airport and then catch a cab across or a bus or whatever. Or what I did, I actually flew into Dubrovnik and then drove to Montenegro, to Herzegovina, which is where I'm staying for the 3 weeks or so. And I had a rental car and just drove into Croatia. It was pretty easy, it was pretty quick. You just have to note that that Montenegro-Croatian border can be pretty busy at times. Also, I went with friends, so we had an Airbnb in the Old Town. The Old Town is where pretty much everything is. If you go into Dubrovnik, you're there for that reason, and you'll need to really spend between 1 and 3 days there if that's what you're visiting, if you just check out the Old Town, because you can get it done relatively quickly. Here's everything that I did, and I've got it written down on a laptop just to take notes for. So, number 1, exploring. It is super fun to explore an old town, an old city like this. It's built in an old fortress, several hundred years old. So the streets, kind of like a maze. So it's super fun to explore, but there are heaps of cats as well around, which is kind of fun. And it can be a super fun adventure, just exploring the old town of the city's old town, just in general. It's a really, really cool, magnificent area. If you've been to Split before, which is another city in Croatia, it is like that. I think Split was a bit cooler, we'll get into that later, but it is very similar in regards to that. It's old fortress walls and everything inside the town, polished streets sort of vibes. We spent a couple hours walking around the town. We arrived at night time, so we did a bit of exploring then. Did some more exploring then during the day, which is really, really fun. You can go to the town centre. There's a whole bunch of different things to see. It can be really cool to check that out if you like the fan of history or just like the whole kind of architecture and vibe of that place. Also, if shopping is your thing, there's a lot of shops there as well. It is very expensive in the old town to shop and to eat, so just keep note of that. You are in a very touristy area at the end of the day. But one good thing, which I've seen in Croatia and other parts of Europe as well, but especially in Croatia, is that they'll have their menus out on display, so you can see the prices of places for you and if that is something that you're, being cautious of. Now, on that trend of exploring, you can get a boat to a nearby island called Lokrum, which is absolutely beautiful. Now, I recommend getting there earlier in the day to around midday times, because the last boat comes back at, I think, 6 o'clock, and you can't stay over at the night. So the later you actually get there, means, there's less time you have on the island. It is 27 euros, so it's not cheap. You can only get a return ticket. Obviously you can't stay overnight. I'd highly recommend doing it, because it's just a really beautiful island. There are plenty of peacocks around, which is really, really cool. They were introduced there. I don't think they were native, but they're everywhere, which is kind of exciting. I haven't seen them out in the wild in nature before, so that was really cool. And yeah, it was just really cool. The water was really salty, so it was really easy to float. Just stunning day, stunning beaches, incredible views. If you're after just a really nice, natural thing to look at, it was just incredible to go explore. And the island is very walkable in a day. Going past on the boat, I thought it was a lot bigger than it was, but you can very, very easily walk it in I feel an hour or so. We obviously didn't do it in one continuous loop, but we didn't have to rush back to get the boat, which was cool. Also, a note, if you are going up to the fortress, which I'll put the name of it up here, you can get this beautiful view, an uninterrupted view of the whole 360 panorama of Dubrovnik, including the old town and all the mountains around. And if you walk another 5-10 minutes down the road, there is also another view of just the old town, which is completely uninterrupted. But it is really, really stunning. You walk into the fortress and you can go up onto this little viewing point, and it's just an incredible view of the whole area, which I would highly recommend checking out. Down the island, complete. Finished off with a nice little swim. Absolutely just stunning weather. It's been beautiful. Hopefully I'll show a little bit of, the traveling around. There's a nice little old fortress. Heading off back into the old town now.
finish off the night here.
If you're back in the old town and you've done your exploring throughout there, you can also go to this place called the Cliff Diving Bar. You're just outside the city walls on like the far side, and you can sort of climb up to your right towards the city walls and you get like a beautiful sunset view. So if you want like a really nice sort of sunset experience, would highly recommend that bar because it's just a beautiful view. You've got Lokrum Island on one side and you've got the city walls on the other, and it's stunning. Another thing to do inside the city walls, if you're into it, there's a famous club there called Club Revelin. I'm sure during summertime it's better and busier. We went there just as the off season began, so it wasn't the best vibe, but it was fun. It was good to grab some drinks with some friends. I would recommend getting pre-drinks beforehand, because drinking inside the city walls can be very expensive. There are a few supermarkets just outside, and you can get like a bottle of vodka for like 10 euros or a 2-litre bottle of beer for 2 euros if you want to go down that sort of vibe. So it can be really affordable just if you do jump outside the city walls, because if you're getting drinks inside, it's like 6 or 7 euros for like a half a litre of beer, as opposed to a 2-litre bottle for 2 euros outside of the walls. So just keep that in mind.
Absolutely fucking sourced, heading to the supposedly best nightclub in Dubrovnik right now. Let's see how it goes.
One note with like clubbing in Europe, which I didn't really think about, but was told by my mates, was that essentially places don't really start kicking off until like 1 in the morning. So if you're getting there at like the opening times of like 9 or 10, it's gonna be dead. So we got there at like 1:30. It's like a really cool like old building, so it's nice and it's cool on the inside. It's just I'm sure when there's more people, it'll be better. That's
Alrighty, successful night. As you can see, it is absolutely quiet around. There's one place that's open, this bakery, so I got myself a little pastry and some burak. Decent night out. It's end of the season, so it's like pretty quiet, I'll be honest.
Eating. So obviously, as I said before, food can be really expensive in Dubrovnik. So if you want like sort of affordable options, there are a few for like some fast food and burgers and stuff that are around like 10 euro. We didn't go for that. You can go to bakeries, which will have like a burak, which is a traditional pastry dish. You can have it with like spinach and ricotta fillings, or meat, which is like usually around like 4 euros or so, which is pretty good for pricing inside the city walls. I will say as well, if you're looking at reviews for places and you see something with like a 3-star or like 2.5 stars, like it's been review bombed, just have a look at some of the reviews, because I found a couple of spots, like a couple of these bakeries, that had been review bombed, and it was just because it was like rude staff or staff didn't speak English, which is like just ridiculous. Like if you're in another country, don't review on places because the staff didn't like smile at you or because they didn't speak perfect English. That's insane. So just check. Like if it says food made me sick or that kind of stuff, maybe take that a note. But if all the reviews are just like staff was rude, staff was rude, you can go there, it's fine, just don't be a dick. Anyway, also, sorry, I almost forgot this, there's like a famous basketball court inside the city walls, which is really cool. I don't know why it's there, but it's just like a really cool court. Now, if you try and find it, it is kind of like up like an alleyway almost. It was kind of difficult to spot. We went there at night time, but it was really, really cool. We did get there. There was also a ball that was left over there. I don't know if it's always there, but just kind of fun if you just want to check out this cool little spot. Also, Dubrovnik, I can't, go on without mentioning this. It is really well known for being where a bunch of Game of Thrones scenes are filmed. So there'll be a bunch of Game of Thrones stores around. If you are a fan of the series, go. It'll be cool for that. Recommendations for stuff outside of the city walls, because obviously the old town is the main reason why people go to Dubrovnik, but it's not the only thing that's there. So like if you want to get, firstly, like groceries and drinks, there are relatively affordable places, 10-15 minute walk away. If you want to go to a bigger supermarket, 25-minute walks like a Tommy's or something. If you want to get food, we had this pizza spot which was just outside. It was relatively new. I forget the name, but I'll put it up here. Like they sell pizza by the slice, which was pretty good, and it was obviously much more affordable than inside the walls. And you can find like really nice little restaurants just outside if you do want to make a bit more of a journey and check out what's outside. Like it's obviously it's a functioning city, so there's not just the old town. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's outside as well. I think one of my favorite things that we did while we were here was hiking up this mountain. I'll pop the name of the mountain just here. We went up to sunset, and it was it was a bit of a steep walk up. It wasn't anything crazy, but it took a little bit of time. It was like an hour to go from the town to the top. But once we were there, it was just a stunning view where you had the whole of Dubrovnik like in view with a lovely sunset. So if you do want to go and check out a nice sunset, if you don't want to get a little hike, definitely do that. I would also recommend, once the sun goes down, leave like ASAP. Like don't stay too long afterwards, because as soon as the sun goes, that walk down will get dark quick, and it can get kind of like rocky and sort of slippery at times. So definitely like have a flashlight and a charged phone. But yeah, just be careful that it will get seriously dark when you do start to head down that hill. because there'll be like no lights anywhere. So just a note for that. If you are driving in, like I did, the way that parking works in Dubrovnik is there's a few different ways. There's like several zones. So like zone 1 is like close to the old town and it sort of goes out and out and out. There are like parking garages that you can pay for, and obviously the closer you get to the town, the more expensive they are. I parked in a place that was like a 25-minute walk away. You could also catch a bus, but I sort of didn't fully get that at the time. The 25 minutes walk was nothing, and I think I paid, it was like 20 euros to park there all day. And you know, you leave your car there for a couple of days, it was completely fine. Like I left it there for 3 days, you know, for 3.5 days, and then got charged for 4 days. But 20 euros a day as opposed to paying, you know, 25, 30, 45, 50 euros the closer you get into the town, I'd recommend just if you are parking and you're happy with a bit of a walk, just park a little bit further away. It was super easy. It was called Grand Parking Dubrovnik. So right next to like a supermarket, easy.
Well, at the moment, walking from like out of town to into town, there's not always the best pedestrian access. I'm currently walking along the footpath now, obviously, but got around some of the bends. The footpath just sort of stopped and you had to walk on the road for a bit. But aside from that, pretty easy drive in, little way to the border, but aside from that, we're good.
If you are going, you know, language barrier probably won't be an issue. Like most people do speak English or some sort of English, or someone will. But you know, just learn to say like hi or bye or thank you or any of those kind of things, or even like, you know, hi, do you speak English? You know, Dobar University, Zdravo, Ciao, Hvala, like all that kind of stuff. It's just little, you know, just little courtesies. I didn't need any cash anywhere, but if you want to bring some just in case you can, everywhere for me did accept card, which was pretty good as well. So that's sort of everything that I did. Out of things that I'd recommend doing, I'd say number 1, obviously explore the old town. Really, really cool. Number 2, Lokrum Island, amazing as well. So if you want to like set up like a little day trip, I'd say day 1, explore the city, explore like the town. You know, go shopping, take it chill, slow, just explore that old town. And if you want, you can pop outside, but you know, just spend a day sort of exploring that. If you're a Game of Thrones fan especially, you know, you can do a walking tour through the city. Super chill, super fun, get to that. Also, if you finish exploring the town, you can do a city walls walk, so where you pay, I think it's 35 euro to walk around the city walls on top. They also have a city pass, where I think for a day, it's the same price as 35 euro and you get access to the walls, but also all the museums. So if you do want to check out museums, just get the city pass. It's the same price as doing the walls, and you know, you can explore the town, explore your museums, do the walls, and you can do that all in a day, just exploring the old town. I'd say if you're gonna have, you know, a 2-day trip sort of thing, do that for the first day, and then if you want to go out and party. And then for your second day, if it's nice, go out, visit Lokrum Island, have a lovely day out there, and then maybe go do the hike up the mountain as well, and you can watch the sunset and come back down. And that's a really beautiful way to spend your 2 days. Would I spend, you know, you can obviously spend more time on that if you do want to take it a little bit slower, but you know, that's not too crazy of an itinerary to fit into those days. It sounds kind of busy, but I promise you when you get there, you can get through it, you know, relatively easily if you are like maximizing your day. Now, would I recommend going? So I'm obviously only going to compare to places that I've been, and in Croatia I've been to Dubrovnik and Split, my 2 major cities, and I've been to Hvar, you know, which is just off from Split. Now I personally would say that if you've got the option of going to Dubrovnik or Split, I'd say personally to pick Split, just because it's an older town. To me, it had like more on offer to like check out if you like history, if you like architecture, like it was just a bit of a cooler city. And then as far as like a day trip as well from the island, like Hvar is its own actual like, you know, island that you can, like it's a place you can actually stay on. It's an island you can stay on, there's parties there, it's its own thing. As opposed to Lokrum, which was beautiful obviously, but that's like a day trip sort of situation. So if you want to sort of maximize your exploring in your time, I'd say go to Split. But you know, if you're not really bothered about history or any of that jazz, you know, both of them will sort of provide similar-esque experiences. I just preferred Split. Obviously both are great, but yeah, Split was more my vibe. With both of them, food's gonna be expensive in Dubrovnik, so just keep a note of that. It's gonna be, you know, your 20, 30 euros per meal, so quite expensive, old town, touristy, understandable. Flying in, super easy as well. In a little summary though, I would say like, if you've got the time, definitely check it out. Dubrovnik is a super cool place. Would I go back short term? Probably not, because like I've just been there. I would probably go back to Split just because like I sort of fell in love with the city and the architecture there. But you know, it's definitely a really cool place to go. I'm really happy that I went, and I would 100% recommend going as well. I know like it sounds sort of negative, but it was really cool. Like I'm really, really happy I went. Had a great time with friends. But yeah, that's my little like what I did, what I recommend in my review of Dubrovnik. I thought it was a really cool place. I love the city walls, I love the town. It was like a cool experience to be there. Alrighty, it's like 8 in the morning. Let's go get this border crossing back to Montenegro underway. I'm excited to sort of spend the next couple weeks here in Montenegro, just road tripping, exploring around and seeing what's what. I'm currently here in Montenegro, hence this little strange little setup. Anyway, that's my review on Dubrovnik. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, chuck a like and subscribe. You know, all the usual stuff. And if you want to see more, I'll be traveling, as I said, I'll be traveling through Montenegro for the next few weeks. There'll be a bunch of that content. And then I'm going back to the UK where I recently moved to like a month ago. So yeah, if you want to follow along that journey, I moved from Sydney to the UK. And that'll be me for the next 2 years. So if you're interested in that at all, chuck a like, subscribe. I will be getting back to the 3D content as well, like introducing that when I do go back to the UK and get a proper computer setup. But currently I'm working off a MacBook Pro, and it keeps freezing anytime I want to render. So unfortunately 3D is not possible yet, but I promise soon it will be. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.